I'd just like to ask you a question. Have you ever been inspired by a speaker, or have you ever read a book that's really had an impact on your life?
Yes.
Okay, there's 3 or 4 of you. Well, I want to share with you that I came across a book in 1994. It was called The On Purpose Person, Making Your Life Make Sense. Now, you've got to be ready for a speaker, and you've got to be ready for a book. Would that be right?
Yes.
There's lots of good speakers, and there's a lot of good books out there, but unless you are ready, they are meaningless to you. So I would say that I was ready, the pupil was ready, and the teacher appeared. In this case, the teacher was this book, written by Kevin W. McCarthy from Orlando, Florida. Well, my life at that stage was very full and filled, but perhaps unfulfilled. I was very, very busy doing the stuff that one does to try and develop their self-worth. Anyway, when I read this book, it had a powerful effect on me. So much so that I hopped on an aeroplane, not the next day, but not so long after, flew across to America, to Orlando, Florida, and met this man and spent a day with him. Now, back in 1994, that was a little bit courageous to do, and I was busy with other things, but I set across some time to do that. Now, that was a very inspirational day, and what I did, actually went back 3 months after and actually did a week's training course to run his one-day workshop, which was called The Power of Your Purpose. So I did the training. In fact, my wife Angela came over with me, and she was a reluctant participant, but a very loyal wife. And I came back, and what happened then was back to my university posting at a local university up in Brisbane, and I carried on as I was before. Came back with a license, carried back inspired to make a difference in that field. But 2 of my colleagues retired from university, which left 2 of us to run a small department to teach 22 subjects a year, plus my postgraduate students and master's students and honours students. And I was actually brought up to believe that you had to do and you had to accomplish and you had to achieve in order for you to be of any worth. Who actually has ever had that sort of resonance in their life? That was an important part of their upbringing. Well, I continued not only to teach, but also I took a major leading role in research in my industry, and I took a leading role in university administration, and I kept working and working and doing, and I was surviving. I was stressed, but I was surviving. Who's ever been really, really, really busy, very, very stressed, but still hanging in there somehow? Okay, well that was me until 1998. Something happened. It was, you know, our stress buckets are right full and we operate fairly full all the time. And sometimes it doesn't take much to tip it over. And a medical procedure went drastically wrong and I was abused under anaesthetic. But I won't go into that story, but that was the tipping of the bucket. And I was all ready to go in that semester, organised everything, and I went to my dean and said, I need a week off. I'm not feeling that well. Well, I went to my doctor to get a certificate, and she took one look at me and she said, you've got 2 weeks off. I went back after 2 weeks. I could not get a lock in the door. My body had absolutely disintegrated. Oh, I'm emotional just remembering that time, because I was a doer, I was an achiever, I was an accomplisher. And all of a sudden I was reduced to nothing. But of course I was something. And that's the journey, and of course we don't have a lot of time to actually try and pick it up from there. But I ask you, has ever life thrown you a curveball? Yep. Well, everyone who didn't put up their hand, I'm here to tell you that if it hasn't already, it will. Because we don't go through life without being hit by a Mack truck of some description. Now, it might be a Mack truck, it might be a push, it might be a shove, but do you know, I say bring on the Mack truck, because it's when the Mack truck hits is when you actually start to think about your life and take stock of where you're going and what you're trying to do. Do you resonate with that? I'm not sure if you do. But you know, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it wasn't 2 weeks for me to go back to work. It was not even 2 years. I got laid out, big time. That was the best thing that ever happened. I had to go through the mandatory sort of things that you go through when you're on this sort of medical leave. And doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, all of that sort of thing. Any psychiatrists in the room? It's okay. I had to go through it. But they said something, Edward, you're different. People who come in with your ailment, if you like, really see life as black and dark and no hope. But you've got hope. You seem to have light at the end of the table. And I said, yes. And they tried to ask me, why is that? In fact, one person said to me in a medical report, this man will never work again. Another one said something a little more uncomplimentary, verbally. You are F-U ... mate. I'm here to tell you that I'm not, and I am working, and I am making a difference, and I'm trying to actually change the world in my circle of influence. But the thing that I drew back on was this. That book, The On Purpose Person, The Power of Your Purpose, I started to actually go deeper and deeper into that to discover my purpose, my reason for being, my why. And I was taught to write this not in a page, not in half a page, not in a paragraph, not in a sentence, but 2 words. 2 inspiring words, because it was spiritual DNA, it was the X chromosome and the Y chromosome. I came up with, I exist to serve by igniting enthusiasm. Your purpose has to not only mean something to you, but it has to serve the people around you in your community and a higher power, if you understand, or whatever that is for you. Igniting enthusiasm. I have had the privilege of helping and leading and facilitating not just hundreds but thousands of people to find their 2 words. Now, that is pretty special, because I don't know if you actually know what those 2 words really mean, but when you really get them, they really come from the heart. They are your reason for being. They are the reason you get up every day. It's not your vision, it's not your missions, it's not your values, but it's your purpose. Now, I know, purpose is why you exist. Vision is where you're headed. Your missions are what you do, okay? And your values are what you choose to do day by day to make the decision. So, purpose is being. And I've been doing all my life, not being. Vision is seeing. Missions are doing. Values are choosing. But I locked into my purpose. And every day when I get up out of bed, I think, why am I on this planet? What am I about today? And my 2 words were igniting enthusiasm. And so when I'm with people, when I'm with myself, am I ever down? Yes. Do I ever get depressed from time to time? Yes. But those 2 words keep me on track. They're like my homing beacon. Have you got those 2 words? I know it's not the night tonight to do that, but I just, there are people who've got a story around their 2 words. I remember the first workshop I ever did, and we got to the 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and everyone was really busy trying to get their purpose. And all of a sudden I heard, I've got it! And we all jumped off our seats because everyone was busy, quiet and working. And this lady said, come on, you've got our attention now. What is it? She said, I've been 20 years trying to find this. I've been to every personal development course you can get. And hers was lifting spirit. And if you know this person, you get around this lady, she just lifts your spirit. She goes to the boardroom, she just lifts the spirit of the people in the boardroom. Her own spirit, those are her family, those are the kids. I want to let you know, just to finish on, I've got a couple of minutes left. These 2 words have power. Do you believe me?
Yeah.
These 2 words have power. Now, the P of power is that these 2 words have precision. They're like a laser beam. And the P for power is like a laser beam. It's only 2 words. You can write them on a business card, you can write them on a t-shirt, you can put it on the gravestone, because that's why you're on the planet. And tremendous precision in that. Your purpose also has oneness. There is only one purpose. We are born with our purpose. We take it to our grave. We all share a common purpose, but everybody has their own individual purpose. Like it or not, you might think that's amazing, but we only have one purpose. Many visions, different missions, different values, they change. Purpose also, what comes after O in power?
W.
W. Purpose is written down. Like goals, you can have things up in your mind here, but unless you write your goals down, they are never goals, they're just a wish or a dream. Is that true? When you write those 2 words down, they give you a certain power. Because you know what? I've been named biologically Edward Gifford, but I have got a spiritual name now. My spiritual name is Igniting Enthusiasm. When I write that down, that gives me energy. The E for power is energy. Like electricity, which was always existing, so too your purpose has always existed. But actually, when purpose was harnessed, it produces power. Sorry, when electricity was harnessed. Just when you bring your unconscious purpose to a conscious level, you have power and great energy. Where does my energy come from? From decisions of the mind? No, the spirit, the heart. And purpose also improves the power, great relationships, the RN. So it improves relationships. You know, we can respond to all the things that happen above the line. We respond to everything, to people, through those two words. Just imagine you responding to everybody through two words like lifting spirit, or releasing potential, or liberating greatness, or igniting enthusiasm. It changes the way you relate to people. You work and relate from love, not fear. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say that, you know, when life throws you a curveball, when you get hit by a Mack truck, say thank you, because you learn so much in adversity. That's when you grow. And these two words are like a homing beacon for me. They keep me on track, and they help me to live a rich, full and meaningful life, and to stay on purpose both in my work, life and business. Thanks very much.